You know, people want to know about yesterday. It's no mystery, really. You know, I was just doing my job, you know, plunking on the plunker like that, you know. I was strumming a little skiddly-widdly, feeling a bit flu-flu inside, you know, rumbly-mumbly down in there. I had a bit of a knocker-block. I started with the flub-dub-dub, and a tinker-wink-woo-woo, and tip-tap-a-zibby-zab-sang-zong, you know. And there you have it, yesterday.
Paul McCartney is easily one of the most famous musicians on the planet. He has over 40 platinum records over his years as a Beatle and as a solo performer. There's no doubt that everyone knows Paul McCartney, but who has the best impressions of him? In this video, we have gathered our favorite McCartney impressions. Up first, Jimmy Fallon swaps voices with Paul McCartney and makes him say ridiculous things.
Jimmy, please give me my accent back.
Oh, come on, mate. Can't we just let it be? I can say anything in this accent. It sounds so cool. Anything.
Please don't.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Stop.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
No.
Let me see what you're twerking with.
I don't even know what that means.
YOLO!
All right, that's it. Whew.
Simon Pegg shows off his party trick with this McCartney impression.
It was in terms of doing Beatles impressions. So when you want to do John, you talk like this, it's sort of up there. But when you do Paul, it's up there like that, you know, it's sort of much more. And then when you do George, it's sort of over here. And Ringo's right at the front like that, you see. So that was my 4 Beatles in your mouth trick, which I will occasionally do.
Conan shows off his impression as he recounts the time where he met Paul McCartney.
All of a sudden, I just see hey, how's it going? Everybody chill? And it's Paul McCartney. And then at one point, I said something like, but that's kind of what we're doing. He went, you know, it's a little depression making something. I mean, when I was with the Beatles, you know, when the people with big bags of money came along, we had our act together, so we were okay, but we had already worked it out in the clubs. And he started talking about John and everything, and you just...
You can't believe
just
it.
Diarrhea everywhere, yeah.
Famous comedian Phil Cool impersonates Paul in this vintage sketch.
Paul, well, I've costed your movie idea, and we're looking at 23 million. So what are we going to call this film?
I thought we'd call it something simple, like Paul. Or maybe give it a longer title, like McCartney. I forget this tune, see, right? And I go all around the world searching for it. And I meet lots and lots of furry animals along the way, and I'm really kind to them and that, like, you know.
American voice actor Jess Harnell shows of his Paul impression at San Diego's Comic-Con.
So, you know, first you got John, you know, and John's voice was sort of like in his nose, and it sounded like it was like an arrow or something sharp, and then when he spoke, you know, he talked like this, talking about Yoko and give peace a chance and everything. And then there's Paul, you know, Paul's voice is more like that in his throat, and it's a bit like chilly and high, it's talking, there's some smoke in it and stuff, it's great.
Paul McCartney asked for an autograph from Donny Osmond. Here's what happened.
Can I get your autograph, please, for my daughter?
It's good.
And because Mary was standing right next to him. And I said, sure. And he hands me a picture of me. And I said, put it to Mary, please. To Mary, love Donny. I give it to Paul. She says, there you go. And she squeals. And no, she was a big fan, apparently, at the time. She says, thank you very much.
On Jimmy Kimmel, Rob Lowe shows off his terrible McCartney impression.
Paul, I got to have a selfie. Can I do it? And he said, here comes the bad impersonation.
Okay.
Well, I'm not really doing any selfies. I made it a rule. By the way, I do a one-man show, and when I do my McCartney, I've had people yell out, he's not from India!
Justin Long says it took years to master McCartney's voice. How do you think he did?
But they were having Paul.
Well, Paul's very, you know, with him, it's, I like to, like, hook into something, like if it's a word or if it's just sort of a look, and he's got his eyebrow, you know, it's always kind of like up like this, and it's very sing-songy, you know, and he says, you know, a lot, you know, up and down.
Yeah,
and
you know, yeah.
You know, it's sort of like this, and
we're the Beatles,
we're the Beatles, and we're doing this. And
For our last clip, Dana Carvey delivers an iconic Paul McCartney story.
But he leans into me right as the song starts, to me, who he'd met 10 minutes before, and said, and this is exactly how it sounded. You know, Dane.
Dane.
Sometimes when you're writing, you try so hard to live up to whatever, you end up ruining the fucker. Isn't that? It's poetic.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching this Everything Hollywood video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you want more content just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button below.